The Korean War from 1950 to 1953 left South Korea in ruins. Cities were devastated, with entire neighborhoods reduced to rubble and ashes. The industrial base was practically non-existent. Factories lay in ruins, and the machinery that once powered the economy was either destroyed or severely damaged. Millions of people were displaced, struggling to survive. Families were torn apart, and many found themselves in refugee camps, facing harsh conditions and an uncertain future. The agricultural sector, the backbone of the economy, was severely damaged. Farmlands were left barren, and farmers struggled to produce enough food to feed the population. Poverty was widespread, and the future looked bleak for the newly divided nation. The streets were filled with the destitute, and homes were little more than makeshift shelters. In the aftermath of this devastation, South Korea's GDP per capita was lower than that of many sub-Saharan African countries. The economic disparity was stark and disheartening. The country relied heavily on foreign aid just to meet basic needs. International relief efforts provided essential supplies, but it was clear that long-term solutions were needed. The task ahead was monumental: to rebuild from the ground up and create a functioning, prosperous economy. This required not only physical reconstruction, but also a complete overhaul of the economic system. Few could have predicted the remarkable transformation that would unfold in the following decades. The seeds of change were being planted, even amidst the ruins. The situation appeared dire, but the Korean people possessed a strong work ethic and a determination to rebuild their lives. Communities came together, driven by a shared vision of a better future. This spirit, combined with foreign aid and, crucially, the leadership's commitment to economic development, would set the stage for South Korea's future success. Leaders and citizens alike worked tirelessly to lay the foundations for recovery. Despite the immense challenges, there was a glimmer of hope. Small successes began to emerge, signaling the start of a long journey towards recovery. The war, though devastating, inadvertently set the stage for a dramatic restructuring of Korean society. New social structures began to form, and there was a collective push towards modernization. The old social order was shattered, creating an opportunity for new ideas and a new economic model to emerge. Innovative policies and development projects were introduced, aiming to revitalize the economy. This would prove to be a critical turning point in South Korea's history. The resilience and determination of its people, combined with strategic leadership and international support, paved the way for a remarkable transformation. In 1961, General Park Chung-hee seized power in a military coup, marking the beginning of a new era in South Korean history. His rule was authoritarian, often criticized for its suppression of dissent and the harsh measures taken against political opponents. However, Park was also a staunch developmentalist. He believed that a strong economy was essential for national security and for lifting South Korea out of poverty. His vision was to transform the nation into a self-reliant and prosperous state. Park's government formulated a series of 5-year economic plans, meticulously designed to steer the country towards rapid economic growth. These plans focused on rapid industrialization, driven by exports. The emphasis was on building a robust manufacturing sector that could compete on the global stage. The state played a central role in directing investment, promoting specific industries, and controlling credit. This top-down approach ensured that resources were allocated efficiently to key sectors. Park's government also invested heavily in education and infrastructure, recognizing their importance for long-term growth. Schools, roads, and factories were built at an unprecedented pace. One of Park's most significant moves was to forge close ties with the United States and Japan, two of the world's leading economies at the time. These alliances provided South Korea with access to much-needed capital, technology, and export markets. The influx of foreign investment and expertise was crucial for the country's development. The US, eager to contain communism in Asia, saw South Korea as a key ally and provided substantial economic and military aid. This support was instrumental in stabilizing the country during its transformative years. This period was marked by impressive economic growth rates, often exceeding 10% per year. South Korea's economy was one of the fastest growing in the world. South Korea transformed itself from an impoverished agricultural nation into a burgeoning industrial powerhouse. The landscape of the country changed dramatically as factories replaced farms. However, this rapid development came at a cost, including income inequality, environmental degradation, and suppression of labor rights. The social and environmental impacts of this growth would be felt for decades to come. Central to South Korea's economic miracle was its export-oriented growth strategy. The government under Park Chung-hee and his successors prioritized industries that could compete in global markets. These included textiles, footwear, shipbuilding, steel, and later electronics and automobiles. To promote exports, the government provided various incentives to businesses, such as tax breaks, subsidies, and access to cheap credit. It also kept the Korean won undervalued, making Korean goods cheaper in international markets. This aggressive export drive led to a dramatic increase in South Korea's share of global trade. South Korean businesses, with government support, focused on producing high-quality goods at competitive prices. They rapidly adapted to changing global demand and invested heavily in research and development. This relentless focus on exports propelled South Korea's economic expansion and laid the foundation for its future prosperity. However, this export-dependent model also made South Korea vulnerable to fluctuations in global demand. The 1973 oil crisis, for example, exposed the fragility of this strategy, leading to a temporary slowdown in South Korea's economic growth. Section 4. Birth of the chaebol Samsung, Hyundai and more. A key feature of South Korea's economic development was the rise of chaebols. These are large, family-controlled conglomerates that dominate the Korean economy. Samsung, Hyundai, LG and Daewoo are among the most well-known chaebols. The government played a crucial role in fostering the growth of chaebols. It provided them with preferential access to credit, government contracts and protection from foreign competition. In return, chaebols were expected to invest heavily in strategic industries and drive economic growth. The chaebol system led to remarkable economic growth. These conglomerates became global players in various industries, from shipbuilding and construction to electronics and automobiles. They were instrumental in propelling South Korea onto the world stage as a major economic power. However, the close relationship between the government and chaebols also had its downsides. It led to accusations of crony capitalism, lack of transparency, and stifled competition. The dominance of chaebols also hindered the growth of small and medium-sized enterprises, which are crucial for a balanced and resilient economy. Section 5. Silicon on the Han River, embracing technology. Starting in the 1980s, South Korea shifted its focus towards technology and innovation. The government recognized the need to move beyond low-cost manufacturing and compete in higher value-added sectors. It invested heavily in research and development, established science parks, and provided incentives for businesses to invest in new technologies. This strategic shift led to the rise of South Korea's technology giants, such as Samsung in electronics, LG in electronics and chemicals, and Hyundai in automobiles. These companies invested heavily in research and development, acquired foreign technology, and quickly adapted to changing global trends. South Korea's embrace of technology transformed it into a global leader in areas like semiconductors, mobile phones, and digital displays. The country became a hotbed of innovation, known for its cutting-edge products and technological advancements. This focus on technology not only drove economic growth, but also had a profound impact on South Korean society. It led to the creation of high-skilled jobs, improved living standards, and enhanced the country's global standing. Section 6. Opening up, democracy and globalization take hold. The late 1980s and 1990s marked a period of significant political and economic liberalization in South Korea. This era was characterized by a series of transformative changes that reshaped the nation's political landscape and economic framework. The country transitioned from authoritarian rule to a multi-party democracy, a monumental shift that empowered citizens and fostered a more inclusive political environment. This period also saw South Korea further integrate into the global economy, joining the World Trade Organization in 1995. This move was pivotal in opening up new avenues for trade and economic collaboration on a global scale. Democratization brought about greater transparency, accountability, and respect for human rights. Citizens began to actively participate in the political process, advocating for their rights and holding leaders accountable. It also led to reforms aimed at addressing some of the negative consequences of rapid industrialization, such as environmental pollution and labor exploitation. These reforms were crucial in ensuring sustainable development and improving the quality of life for many South Koreans. Globalization, on the other hand, brought new opportunities and challenges. It facilitated the exchange of ideas, technology, and culture, enriching South Korean society in numerous ways. South Korean companies faced increased competition from other emerging economies, particularly China. This competition spurred innovation and efficiency, driving South Korean firms to enhance their global competitiveness. However, globalization also opened up new markets for Korean products and allowed Korean firms to invest and expand globally. This expansion was instrumental in establishing South Korea as a major player in the global economy. This period of political and economic opening up transformed South Korea into a more mature and sophisticated economy. The nation experienced robust economic growth and development, becoming a model for other emerging economies. It also led to a more vibrant civil society and a stronger commitment to democratic values. The active engagement of citizens in civic activities and democratic processes strengthened the social fabric of the nation. However, the country also had to grapple with the challenges of globalization, such as job losses in certain sectors and the need to constantly innovate to stay ahead of the competition. These challenges required adaptive strategies and policies to ensure continued growth and stability.